What if I told you something most people never realize? The moment someone disrespects you, the moment they talk down to you, the moment they make you feel small, most people react instantly. They argue, they get angry, they try to prove themselves. And in that exact moment, they destroy their own power. They hand control to the very person who tried to disrespect them. But today, we reverse that. Today, you learn how to stay calm when others lose control, how to remain unshaken when others try to provoke you, how to turn disrespect into dominance, silence into strength, and pressure into power. Because the strongest person in the room is never the loudest. It's the one who cannot be controlled. 1. Master the first impulse. The moment disrespect touches you, something inside you wakes up, your chest tightens, your mind races, your ego whispers, "Don't let this slide." That instant urge to respond is not wisdom. It is the mind's rebellion against discomfort. Most people never notice this moment. They don't pause. They don't think. They react. And in that reaction, they lose everything. They lose control of their emotions. They lose control of their words. They lose control of the situation. Disrespect doesn't destroy them. Their reaction does. Think about it. How many times have you said something you wished you could take back? How many times have you reacted in anger, only to feel regret minutes later? How many times has a single emotional response ruined relationships, opportunities, or your own self-respect? This is the trap. The first impulse is a test. It is the moment where you choose. Will I be ruled by instinct, or will I rule myself? The ordinary person obeys the impulse. The powerful person resists it. When someone disrespects you, they expect a reaction. They want you to raise your voice. They want you to defend yourself. They want you to show emotion. Because the moment you react emotionally, they gain power over you. They control your mood. They control your behavior. They control your decisions. And the most dangerous form of control is the one you don't even notice. But the disciplined mind sees this clearly. Instead of reacting, it pauses. Instead of speaking, it listens. Instead of exploding, it observes. This is not weakness. This is mastery. Imagine a warrior on a battlefield. If he swings his sword wildly, driven by anger, he becomes predictable. He becomes vulnerable. He becomes easy to defeat. But if he stays calm, if he studies his opponent, if he waits for the right moment, he becomes unstoppable. Your mind is that battlefield. Your emotions are your weapons. And your discipline is what decides whether you win or lose. When disrespect hits, take a breath. Not a shallow breath, but a deliberate one. Feel the air enter your lungs. Feel your body slow down. Feel your thoughts separate from your emotions. In that single breath, you create distance between stimulus and response. And in that distance, your power is born. You begin to see clearly. You realize that not every comment deserves an answer. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every provocation deserves your attention. Some battles are not meant to be fought. Some words are not meant to be answered. Some people are not worth your reaction. Real power is in choosing which battles deserve your presence. The person who controls their first impulse controls the entire situation. And the person who controls the situation is the one who truly has power. 2. Separate fact from emotion. When someone disrespects you, your mind doesn't search for truth. It searches for danger. A tone feels like an attack. A comment feels like an insult. A silence feels like rejection. But feelings are not facts. And most people destroy their peace because they confuse the two. Not every harsh word is hatred. Not every criticism is humiliation. Not every cold tone is an attack. Sometimes it's stress. Sometimes it's misunderstanding. Sometimes It's simply someone else's pain speaking. But the emotional mind doesn't care about context. It reacts instantly. It says, they're trying to disrespect me. They're trying to undermine me. They're trying to make me feel small. And once that story forms in your mind, every word becomes evidence. Every gesture becomes proof. Every silence becomes a weapon. This is how conflicts are born, not from facts, but from assumptions. The disciplined mind works differently. It pauses. It asks, what actually happened? What do I know for certain? And what am I only feeling? This is the art of separation. You separate what is real from what is imagined. You separate the event from your own personal interpretation. Imagine someone speaks to you sharply. The emotional mind says, they disrespected me. But the analytical mind asks, did they insult me directly? Or did I just dislike their tone? Imagine someone criticizes your work. The emotional mind says, they're attacking me. But the disciplined mind asks, are they attacking me or pointing out something I can improve? This shift changes everything. Because when you separate fact from emotion, you stop being manipulated by your own mind. You realize that many battles exist only in your head. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that events themselves are neutral. It is our judgments that give them meaning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In other words, the insult is not always the problem. Your interpretation of it is. When someone speaks, there are two layers. The words they say, and the story you tell yourself about those words. Most people never question the story. They assume it is truth, but wisdom begins when you challenge your own perception. Ask yourself, is this objectively disrespectful, or am I feeling insecure? Is this person attacking me, or am I projecting my fears? Is this truly an insult, or just uncomfortable honesty? This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you understand it clearly, because reacting to imagined disrespect is just as dangerous as ignoring real disrespect. The goal is clarity. Clarity gives you control. When you analyze before you judge, you gain something rare, emotional intelligence. You stop reacting to shadows. You stop fighting ghosts. You stop wasting energy on illusions. Instead, you respond only to reality. And reality is often simpler than your emotions make it seem. A raised voice is not always aggression. A blunt statement is not always disrespect. A critical comment is not always hatred. Sometimes it's truth wrapped in discomfort. Sometimes it's clumsiness, not cruelty. Sometimes it's ignorance, not intention. When you understand this, you become harder to provoke. People lose the power to control you with tone. They lose the power to manipulate you with words. They lose the power to trigger you with subtle gestures, because you no longer react blindly. You analyze, you observe, you separate fact from feeling. And in that separation, your strength is born. The emotional person says, I feel disrespected, so I was disrespected. The wise person says, I feel something, but I will verify what is real. That is the difference between chaos and control, weakness and power, reaction and mastery. So the next time someone speaks in a way you don't like, don't rush to judgment. Don't let your emotions write the verdict. Pause and analyze. Separate fact from emotion, because the person who can see clearly cannot be easily controlled, and the person who cannot be controlled is the one who truly has power. 3. Guard your dignity, not your pride. When someone disrespects you, something inside you rises. It's loud, it's urgent. It demands a response. That voice is pride. Pride whispers. Don't let them talk to you like that. Show them who you are. Make them regret it. Pride wants revenge. It wants dominance. It wants to win immediately. But pride is dangerous, because pride doesn't protect your character. It protects your ego. And the moment you act from ego, you stop acting from wisdom. Dignity is different. Dignity is quiet. Dignity is controlled. Dignity doesn't rush. Where pride screams, dignity observes. Where pride reacts, dignity reflects. Where pride wants to strike back, dignity asks, "Is this worthy of my energy?" Most people confuse pride with strength. They think shouting back is power. They think humiliating others is confidence. They think proving a point is victory. But real strength is not in how loudly you respond. Real strength is in how calmly you choose not to. Think about it. Let it sink in. When you lash out, when you insult back, when you try to embarrass someone who embarrassed you, what are you really protecting? Your dignity or your wounded pride? Pride is fragile. It is easily offended. It is easily provoked. It is always hungry for validation. Dignity is stable. It doesn't depend on applause. It doesn't depend on approval. It doesn't depend on winning arguments. Dignity comes from self-respect. The Stoics understood this clearly. They knew that insults only harm you if you allow them to reach your inner core. Epictetus once said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults.' Else he would not have mentioned only these." In other words, don't let insults control your behavior, because the moment someone can provoke you, they own you. Pride hands them the keys. Dignity takes the keys back. Imagine this scenario. Someone mocks you in public. They expect you to explode. They expect you to defend yourself. They expect drama. Pride tells you, destroy them with words. But dignity tells you, stay calm. And when you stay calm, something powerful happens. They feel exposed. They feel small. They feel confused. Because they realize they can't control you. Nothing frustrates a disrespectful person more than someone who refuses to be dragged into their chaos. Pride wants to fight on their level. Dignity refuses to step down to it. When you guard your pride, you become reactive. When you guard your dignity, you become untouchable. Pride asks, "How do I look right now?" Dignity asks, "Who am I becoming?" Pride focuses on winning the moment. Dignity focuses on protecting your character, and character is everything. Words spoken in anger can never be taken back. Actions done in pride can destroy years of reputation in seconds. But restraint builds respect. Silence builds authority. Control builds power. People may forget what was said, but they never forget how you carried yourself. The person who remains dignified under pressure is remembered. The person who explodes under pressure is pitied. So the next time someone disrespects you, ask yourself, am I about to respond from pride or from dignity? If it's pride, pause. If it's ego, step back. If it's revenge, walk away. Because dignity is not about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are above their behavior. You don't need to insult back. You don't need to shout back. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. Sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Guard your dignity. Let pride starve, because pride makes you loud. But dignity makes you powerful, and the person who masters dignity can never be controlled by disrespect. 4. Respond with precision, not fury. When disrespect arrives, most people respond with fire. They raise their voice. They speak too much. They reveal too much. They believe anger is power. But anger is not power. Anger is noise. And noise never wins against clarity. Fury makes you careless. Precision makes you dangerous. The person who shouts loses control of the situation. The person who speaks calmly controls it. Think about it. When you are angry, your words become weapons without aim. You say things you don't mean. You exaggerate. You insult. You escalate. And suddenly, what began as a small moment of disrespect turns into a war of egos, not because it was necessary, but because emotions demanded it. Precision is different. Precision is discipline in language. It means you choose your words. Like a surgeon chooses tools, not many words, not emotional words, not dramatic words, only necessary words, few words, clear boundaries, no unnecessary drama. This is the language of power. When someone disrespects you, you don't explode. You define. You say calmly, "Don't speak to me like that." No shouting, no insults, no explanations, just clarity. That single sentence does more damage to disrespect than 1,000 angry words ever could, because it sends a message. I am not emotional. I am not afraid. I am not available for this behavior. Anger invites conflict. Precision ends it. The Stoics understood this. They believed that words should be controlled, not wasted. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Delay creates precision. When you pause before speaking, you remove emotion from your words. You separate what you feel from what must be said. And when you speak, your words land with weight. Imagine two people facing disrespect. The first person reacts with fury. They shout, they accuse, they attack. The disrespectful person smiles because they succeeded. They triggered you. The second person reacts with precision. They remain calm. They look directly into the other person's eyes. They speak slowly and clearly. Don't cross that line again. No insults, no threats, no drama, just boundaries. And suddenly, the disrespectful person feels something unexpected, pressure, because they realize they are dealing with someone who cannot be provoked. Precision creates authority. Fury destroys it. When you respond with anger, you look insecure. When you respond with precision, you look untouchable. Anger makes you predictable. Precision makes you mysterious. People can manipulate predictable people, but they fear precise people. Why? Because precise people are not emotional. They are deliberate. They don't react impulsively. They respond strategically. And strategy is always stronger than emotion. Few words. That is the secret. The more you talk in anger, the weaker you appear. The less you talk with clarity, the stronger you become. Silence can be powerful, but silence without boundaries is weakness. Precision is the balance. You speak when necessary, but only what is necessary. No explanations, no justifications, no emotional speeches. Just boundaries, just truth, just control. Think about the leaders you respect. Do they scream? Do they argue emotionally? Do they explain themselves to everyone? No. They speak briefly. They speak clearly. They speak with confidence. Their words are not many, but their words are final. That is precision. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't respond with fury. Don't raise your voice. Don't insult back. Don't dramatize the moment. Pause. Choose your words. Say only what must be said. Draw the line and walk away, because fury makes you loud, but precision makes you powerful. And the person who masters precision never needs anger to command respect. 5. Withdraw attention. Disrespect feeds on one thing: attention. When someone disrespects you, they are not always seeking conflict. Often, they are seeking reaction. They want your anger. They want your words. They want your emotional energy. Because attention is power, and the moment you give it to them, you reward their behavior. Most people don't realize this. They think responding is strength. They think arguing is courage, They think proving a point is victory. But in reality, every emotional reaction is fuel, and disrespect is a fire that grows when you feed it. The fastest way to weaken disrespect is not confrontation. It is indifference. Indifference is not weakness. Indifference is discipline. It is the ability to say, "This does not deserve my energy." When you withdraw attention, you remove the reward. You stop answering every message. You stop reacting to every comment. You stop explaining yourself to people who never intended to understand you. And suddenly, the disrespectful person feels something unexpected: emptiness, because their words no longer move you. Their tone no longer shakes you. Their presence no longer matters. For many people, this is unbearable. They are used to controlling others through emotion. They are used to provoking reactions. They are used to being the center of attention. But when you become indifferent, you break their strategy. Imagine this. Someone insults you. They expect you to fight back. They expect drama. But you don't respond. No argument. No defense. No explanation. Just silence. At first, they feel powerful. But slowly, they feel irrelevant. And nothing hurts the ego more than irrelevance. Attention is currency. Every time you argue, you pay them. Every time you react, you reward them. Every time you chase respect from someone who doesn't value you, you lower your own value. The Stoics understood this principle. They knew that peace comes not from controlling others, but from controlling where your attention goes. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control whether their behavior reaches you. When you withdraw attention, you send a silent message. You do not have access to me. This is not arrogance. This is self-respect. There is a difference between ignoring someone and being indifferent. Ignoring is emotional. It is often driven by anger. Indifference is calm. It is not about revenge. It is not about proving a point. It is about protecting your peace. Most people think silence means defeat, but silence can be dominance. Because when you refuse to engage, you force the other person to face themselves, and many people cannot handle that. They escalate. They insult more. They provoke more. They try harder, and every attempt reveals their weakness. While you remain still, while you remain composed, while you remain unreachable. This is the paradox of power. The less attention you give to disrespect, the less power it has over you. The more attention you give to disrespect, the more control it gains. So choose carefully. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every insult deserves an answer. Not every person deserves access to your emotions. Some people deserve only distance. Some words deserve only silence. Some behaviors deserve only absence. Withdraw attention, not out of hate, not out of pride, but out of wisdom. Because your attention is precious. Your time is limited. Your energy is sacred, and nothing stars disrespect faster than indifference. 6. Refuse to internalize what is not yours. When someone disrespects you, the first instinct is to believe it, to absorb it, to carry it, to let it sink into your identity. Their words echo in your mind. Their tone lingers in your chest. Their judgment feels personal. But here is the truth most people never learn. Not everything said about you belongs to you. Not every insult is a verdict. Not every criticism is accurate. Not every opinion is truth. Many people speak from chaos. Chaos in their thoughts. Chaos in their emotions. Chaos in their lives. And when chaos speaks, it looks for a target. That target is often you. But their behavior is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their inner state. Think about it. A peaceful person rarely insults others. A fulfilled person rarely humiliates others. A secure person rarely needs to dominate others. Disrespect usually comes from insecurity, frustration, or unhealed wounds. Yet most people make a fatal mistake. They internalize it. They start questioning themselves. They start doubting their value. They start shrinking. One careless comment can follow them for years. One moment of disrespect can become a lifelong scar. But wisdom teaches a different response. Instead of absorbing the insult, you examine it. You ask, is this objectively true? Does this define who I am? Or is this simply someone else's projection? Because projection is powerful. People often throw their fears, failures, and insecurities onto others. They criticize what they lack. They mock what they fear. They attack what they don't understand. And if you internalize their chaos, you become a prisoner of their mind. The Stoics warned against this. They taught that your value should never be determined by the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others." In other words, why do we trust strangers' judgments more than our own understanding? When someone disrespects you, you have a choice. You can carry their words like a burden, or you can drop them like stones that were never yours to hold. Refusing to internalize disrespect is not denial. It is discernment. It means you separate identity from insult. You say to yourself, this is their emotion, not my reality. This is their frustration, not my value. This is their chaos, not my character. Imagine someone throws mud at you. If you catch it, your hands get dirty. If you let it fall, it stays on the ground. Disrespect is the same. You don't have to catch it, hold it, or even carry it home. When you stop internalizing disrespect, something powerful happens. Your self-worth becomes stable. Your confidence becomes independent. Your identity becomes untouchable. People can criticize you, but they cannot define you. They can insult you, but they cannot rewrite who you are. They can speak, but they cannot shape your soul. This is emotional sovereignty, and it is rare. Most people live under the emotional influence of others. They rise and fall with opinions. They gain confidence from praise. They lose confidence from criticism. But the disciplined mind stands still. It listens, but it does not absorb blindly. It hears, but it does not surrender. It understands that other people's words often reveal more about them than about you. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this. You are not obligated to accept every label someone gives you. You are not required to carry every emotion someone throws at you. You are not defined by someone else's chaos. Refuse to internalize what is not yours, because the moment you stop carrying other people's emotional baggage is the moment you become free. 7. Strengthen your inner posture. When someone disrespects you, the real battle does not happen outside, but in the inside, not in their words, but in your mind. Because the way you stand internally determines how deeply insults can reach you. If your mind is fragile, every comment feels like a blow. If your identity is unstable, every opinion feels like a verdict. But when your inner posture is strong, insults lose their weight. They hit, but they do not penetrate. Think about posture. When your body stands tall, you appear confident, unmovable, grounded. The same is true for the mind. An upright mind does not collapse under criticism. It does not shrink under mockery. It does not bend under pressure. It remains steady. Inner posture is built, not born. It is the result of discipline, self-awareness, and quiet confidence. You strengthen it every time you refuse to beg for approval. Every time you stop explaining yourself. Every time you choose self-respect over validation. Most people walk through life with a bent inner posture. They constantly seek approval. They constantly fear judgment. They constantly measure their worth through the eyes of others. And because of that, they are easily shaken. One insult can ruin their day. One negative comment can destroy their confidence. One moment of disrespect can define their mood. But the person with strong inner posture lives differently. They understand that worth is not voted on. It is not decided by crowds. It is not created by opinions. It is chosen daily. They know who they are, even when others try to tell them who they should be. When someone insults them, they don't panic. They don't rush to defend themselves. They observe. They remain calm, because they know that insults only work on people who doubt themselves. A person who stands firmly in their identity cannot be easily destabilized. The Stoics believed this deeply. They taught that the mind must become a fortress, a place where external chaos cannot enter without permission. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When your inner world is stable, the outer world loses its power over you. Strengthening your inner posture means training your mind to remain upright even when the world tries to push it down. It means reminding yourself, I am not defined by this moment. I am not defined by their words. I am not defined by their opinion. It means cultivating self-respect so deep that no insult can uproot it. So the next time someone tries to belittle you, remember this. If your mind stands tall, their insults fall flat. They may speak, they may judge, they may mock, but you remain unshaken, grounded, unmoved, because real strength is not in fighting every insult. It is in becoming someone who no longer needs to. 8. Choose silence when words would betray your values. There are moments in life when words feel urgent. When someone disrespects you, your mind searches for the perfect response, the sharpest comeback, the most painful reply. But not every battle should be fought with words. Sometimes speaking is the real mistake, because words spoken in anger rarely represent who you truly are. They represent who your emotions forced you to become in that moment. Silence, on the other hand, is not weakness. Silence is control. Silence is the decision to not let your emotions speak on your behalf. Most people misunderstand silence. They think silence means submission. They think silence means fear. They think silence means losing. But silence can be strategic. It is the pause of a disciplined mind. It is the calm of someone who sees the bigger picture. It is the refusal to step into a trap. When someone provokes you, they want a reaction. They want drama. They want chaos. They want you to say something you will later regret. Silence breaks that cycle. It denies them the satisfaction of controlling you. Imagine two people facing disrespect. The first person responds immediately. They argue. They insult back. They escalate the situation. Minutes later, they feel regret. They replay their words in their mind. They wish they had stayed calm. The second person chooses silence. They listen. They observe. They say nothing. At first, it feels uncomfortable. But later, they feel clarity. They protected their values. They protected their character. They protected their peace. Silence is not about avoiding conflict. It is about choosing the right moment to speak. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that self-control is the highest form of power. Epictetus taught that we should not respond to every insult, because responding gives it importance. When you remain silent, you send a powerful message. This does not deserve my voice. Silence forces the other person to confront their own behavior. Sometimes they realize their mistake. Sometimes they feel embarrassed. Sometimes they become more aggressive. But none of that matters, because your silence was not for them. It was for you. Choosing silence is choosing integrity. It means you refuse to let anger rewrite your values. It means you refuse to let disrespect drag you down to its level. It means you refuse to become someone you don't respect. Silence is the shield of the wise. It protects your dignity when emotions try to steal it. It protects your reputation when anger tries to destroy it. It protects your future when the present tries to provoke you. Of course, silence does not mean tolerance. It does not mean you accept disrespect forever. It means you choose timing. You choose clarity. You choose purpose. You speak when your words can heal, not when they can harm. You respond when your mind is calm, not when your emotions are burning. Because words spoken from calm carry authority. Words spoken from anger carry regret. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this: you do not have to respond immediately. You do not have to prove anything. You do not have to win every argument. Sometimes the most powerful statement is silence. Not because you are weak, but because you are disciplined. Not because you are afraid, but because you are in control. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you refuse to let your values be betrayed by temporary emotions. Choose silence when words would betray your values. Because silence is not weakness, it is strategic calm. And strategic calm is the language of true power. 9. Walk away without bitterness. There comes a moment in every conflict when you realize something important. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every person is worth convincing. Not every relationship is worth saving. When someone disrespects you repeatedly, your instinct is to stay, to argue, to explain, and to prove your worth. But sometimes the strongest move is not confrontation. It is departure. Walking away is often misunderstood. People think it means giving up. They think it means losing. They think it means weakness. But walking away can be an act of strength because it requires clarity. It requires courage. And most importantly, it requires emotional maturity. The weak person stays in toxic situations, hoping to change people who have no intention of changing. The strong person recognizes patterns and chooses distance. But there is a difference between walking away in anger and walking away in wisdom. Anger leaves scars. Wisdom leaves peace. Walking away without bitterness means you do not carry resentment with you. You do not replay the insults. You do not fantasize about revenge. You do not let hatred follow you into your future. You simply leave. Calmly, quietly, decisively. Distance is not punishment. Distance is protection. When you create distance, you protect your energy, your time, your identity. You stop trying to extract respect from people who are incapable of giving it. You stop negotiating with disrespect. You stop begging for basic decency. The Stoics understood this. They believed that freedom begins when you stop needing approval from those who don't value you. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Often, we stay in toxic situations because we fear being alone, misunderstood, or judged. But staying in disrespect costs more than leaving it. Imagine holding a burning coal in your hand. You can keep holding it, hoping it will stop burning. Or you can drop it. Walking away is dropping the coal. Bitterness is holding it tighter. When you leave with bitterness, you carry the conflict inside you. When you leave with clarity, you leave the conflict behind. The goal is not to prove them wrong. The goal is to protect your peace. Sometimes the most powerful message you can send is not a speech. It is absence. Your absence speaks louder than any argument. It says, I know my worth. I refuse to be disrespected. I choose peace over chaos. And here is the paradox. People often respect you more when you stop trying to earn their respect. Because distance reveals value. When you remove your presence, you reveal what they lost. But even if they never realize it, it doesn't matter. Your peace is not dependent on their awareness. Walking away without bitterness means you don't hate them. You simply understand them. You understand that some people are not meant to walk beside you. Some are lessons. Some are warnings. Some are temporary. And forcing permanence only creates suffering. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this. You don't have to fight. You don't have to explain. You don't have to convince. Sometimes you just have to leave. Not with anger, not with revenge, not with bitterness, but with dignity. Because distance is sometimes the most powerful answer. And the person who knows when to walk away is the person who truly understands strength. 10. Transform insult into discipline. Disrespect is inevitable. No matter how kind you are, no matter how skilled you become, no matter how high you rise, someone will doubt you. Someone will mock you. Someone will try to diminish you. Most people break under that pressure. They become bitter. They become reactive. They become obsessed with proving others wrong. But the disciplined mind chooses a different path. It does not waste energy on revenge. It converts insult into fuel. Every word meant to humiliate you becomes motivation. Every act of disrespect becomes a reminder. I must become stronger. Think about fire. Fire can destroy a house, or it can forge steel. The difference is not the fire. It is how you use it. Insults are the same. You can let them burn you, or you can let them forge you. Most people let insults shape their emotions. The wise let insults shape their discipline. When someone disrespects you, you have a choice. You can argue, or you can improve. You can complain, or you can train. You can seek validation, or you can build excellence. Discipline is the quiet answer to disrespect. It does not shout. It does not explain. It works. While others talk, you refine your craft. While others mock, you sharpen your skills. While others doubt, you deepen your focus. And slowly, without drama, without revenge, without noise, you rise. This is the most painful outcome for those who disrespected you. Not your anger, not your insults, but your growth. Because nothing silences disrespect more effectively than undeniable progress. The Stoics understood this principle. They believed that obstacles are not interruptions to the path. They are the path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Disrespect is an impediment, but it can also become your way forward. Every insult can become a lesson in patience. Every humiliation can become training in humility. Every attack can become practice in self-control. Instead of asking, "Why are they treating me like this?" you ask, "How can I use this to become better?" This shift changes everything. You stop seeing disrespect as an enemy. You start seeing it as a teacher, a harsh teacher, an unfair teacher, but a powerful one. When someone disrespects you, you no longer collapse emotionally. You become curious. What weakness in me did this expose? What insecurity did this trigger? What discipline do I need to strengthen? Because self-mastery is not built in comfort. It is built in friction. It is built in moments where your ego wants to explode, but your mind chooses restraint. It is built in moments where your pride wants revenge, but your character chooses growth. Transformation is not loud. It is silent. It happens in routines, in habits, in quiet decisions. You wake up earlier. You work harder. You speak less. You observe more. You react less. You think deeper. And slowly, the person who was once wounded by insults becomes immune to them, not because they stopped caring, but because they started evolving. The ultimate revenge is not humiliation. It is transcendence. When you outgrow the need to respond, you outgrow the people who tried to hurt you. When you transform insult into discipline, you become untouchable. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't ask, "How do I destroy them?" Ask, "How do I transform this moment into strength?" Sharpen your character. Refine your focus. Deepen your self-mastery. Because every insult carries hidden energy. And the wise person knows energy is never wasted. It is either used to destroy you or used to build you. Choose to build, and when you do, disrespect will no longer be your enemy. It will be your fuel. Because the greatest victory is not humiliating others. It is refusing to let them control your inner world. We are not shaped by how others treat us. We are shaped by how we choose to respond. And when the world tries to pull us into chaos, we remain still, unmoved, unbreakable. When was the last time someone disrespected you? And how did it change the way you see yourself? Did you react or did you rise? Comment your truth. Hit like and subscribe for more content like this.